Oh, hello everyone. I think I'm showing you the ceiling. So let me first fix this. Okay, here we go. Much better. That's what you're here to see. So we're going to be making still live? I'm not sure. Yes, we are still live. Okay. So I just accidentally pressed the emergency button on my phone and was about to go. It was about to go into a call. Anyway, so we're going to be doing a quick card. I just started making a card and I thought, hey, I should do this live so you all can see how I sometimes make cards just on a whim. So I'm going to put this on my overhead mount so you can see exactly what I'll be doing and you can follow along. And I'm going to try not putting this button again so we don't end up causing any kind of alarms. Okay, so here we have a black piece of cardstock. I just trimmed this to a 4.125 by 5 inches, and it's just regular plain cardstock, nothing fancy. I'm going to be using this is the black cardstock, and I have a gold gel pen. Going to be using that, and you can follow along and see how I do this, or you can just do it on a white paper with a black pen, however you want. It's just going to be very quick. I am not anticipating it taking any more than 15 minutes because I could spend a lot of time on finessing and honing and adding more to these. I just did a quick double over there so that you can see how it becomes a bit darker. Just doodling, whatever comes to mind. There's no set pattern in my head. I like to make my what I call the skeleton first of the design, and then I go in later and fill in all the details. And I usually, when I'm making these mandalas, decide where I want to end. So I won't do this whole, I won't be filling up this entire piece of cardstock. I will probably end somewhere around the 3/4 area. So just keep going till whenever it feels comfortable for you to stop. There's no right or wrong. And I don't use tools. A lot of people do very symmetrical style mandalas, and theirs is very geometric. Mine is anything but. I just don't like measurements, and I just don't like math. I shouldn't say that in front of my 6-year-old, but it's not something I enjoy. I still do it because that's how we challenge ourselves. And I need to do math when I'm doing all sorts of calculations for how much cardstock and what the trim size should be and what I should mount it on and all of that, but I won't lie that I enjoy doing any of that. So I'm about reaching the point where I'm going to do this one final trim and I will stop. So that's my basic skeleton right there. This is a very simple design, and I'm just gonna fill it in with some more details. Just doubling over, and as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about what kind of details would look good in this particular area. So I think I'm going to go with simple lines to fill this up. Just a double circle. Nothing too complicated. Again, double this over. You could do this with so many different kinds of colors or pens or markers. There is so much room to experiment and play. Just kind of a crisscross diamond here. And double this up. Actually, I'm going to double this up one more time, just to fill in that space. And here I'm going to do some loops. This one is more of a continuous loop. That's how far my hand goes without it shaking or messing up the pattern. Almost there, and that's done. And then in here I just want to fill this in with some dots. I'm at 6.5 minutes, so that's kind of like the halfway point of what I imagined I would need to complete this. Again, doubling up. And then here, I think I want to do this shape, and I'll have something to fill up the gaps. That's what's speaking to me right now. Okay, and I'm going to go in and double up over here. I'm going to just fill up a little negative space over there. See, it's nothing too fancy. It's really quite simple. And do some big circles over here to kind of complement the circles that I had done earlier over there. Filling up the corner here. You see how the pattern just kind of evolves as it goes. I don't like to have exact sketches or plans when I'm doing this, because this is really my way of zoning out, de-stressing, and just mindlessly, without having to think, make something. Okay, and then just going to fill this part up here. Again, it's really, once you have a base layer, or the skeleton layer, so to speak, you can spend a lot of time filling in the details. You can even do it with a much finer pen and become really obsessive about how many intricate details you can add. Or you can do it with a thick pen and not worry about doing a lot of detailed work. This is kind of a medium nib, so I get to be able to do double up whenever I want some thicker lines, or just tilt the tip a bit to get some finer areas. And it has a nice shine to it, the gold I'm not sure if it's being adequately captured in this camera, in the video. But so I have that. It still looks a little bit bare to me. I'm thinking of it, the way I'm envisioning it is writing thank you over here or stamping it with gold embossing ink. So I will leave this area blank, but over here I feel like we can do some more. Also, I am not at 15 minutes yet, so I wanted to do this for at least 15 minutes and see how much I can embellish. That's my challenge to myself today. Doubling up over here. Now this is the part where I have to be really careful and not make any mistakes, because after having spent 10 minutes doing this, definitely don't want a shaky hand. Just gonna do some more intricate lines here. Adding a little bit of curve to these instead of making them completely straight. Lines are so beautiful. You can do so many things with lines. You can make squiggly lines, straight lines, cross lines, dashed lines. And then over here, I think what I want to do is again do some dots, connecting these circles. Fills up this space. It also makes it a bit more elegant in between all of those solid lines to introduce dots like these. And I like the dots over there, so I'm going to continue that pattern right over here, following the line I had earlier. I do love dots. I think dots are a big part of anything I create. Always end up adding some dots. They're so easy, and I just feel they add so much. Without being over the top. So there, that's that. And I think I will make these a little bit bigger. I just noticed that I started out big, but then I somehow didn't continue. So I'm just going to make this a bit bigger over here. Make this a dashed line. The only reason I'm doing a dashed line here is because I am not very certain that I would have been able to pull off following the curvature of this in one steady flow. So there's that. So you see how sometimes there are elements that are introduced into a mandala drawing because of limitations in my ability to do something. Okay, and then lastly, I just want to do 3 little drops here. And done. 13 minutes and 55 seconds, so about 14 minutes in, and then we'll do a thank you, and I'm going to stick it on 4.25 by 5.5 inch. I think I do need to trim this side a bit, so it's helpful to leave some gap always, so in case you need to trim, then your design doesn't get cut off. So I'll do that, and this card will be ready to go. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked it. This was my first YouTube live. I was just experimenting, and I am going to do better next time. But if anybody's watching, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.